and welcome to BEF TV. We're in the Nordic Hotel Forum, and with me is the director of the documentary Silent Men, Duncan Cowles from the UK.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, amazing. I will start right away and ask you the question. What inspired you to create a documentary that focuses on the emotional world and the inner life of men?
I think it was inspired by my own sort of difficulties in opening up to my family and expressing emotion and talking to them. And I decided to kind of make a film as a way to, I guess, address my own problems. And then through that, you know, maybe other people will find some help as well. I don't know, yeah.
Was it easier for you to do the documentary because it was from your own experience?
I think so, yeah. I mean, in some ways it was harder because it was quite personal, and it might have been easier if it wasn't. But yeah, I suppose it's not easy putting your own, like my own family are in the film, and putting them on screen sort of feels like quite a scary thing to do.
Yeah.
But you know, it's good. People seem to like it, so yeah, that's fine.
So it's basically you're opening up to the world.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, through the film, I'm just being vulnerable to everyone. So yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable, but you know, it's good. I think it was worthwhile doing. You know, I think like I started the film 7 years ago, and sort of over the 7 years, it took a long time, but you see some real change kind of take place because of it taking so long to make. So me and some of the other contributors in the film, you see a bit of a progression, and in a way that in some films that take place in a smaller time frame, you maybe wouldn't get that opportunity. So I think that's one of the hopefully strengths of the film. Yeah.
Yeah. How did the men in your film find the courage to share their thoughts and feelings about topics that may seem a little difficult or uncomfortable? Like you said, it was really hard for you to open up, basically.
Yeah, I think like the men that I filmed with who I hadn't met before, you know, in some ways it's sometimes easier to talk to like a stranger about quite personal things than it is your own family. So in that way, actually, it was quite easy to have those conversations in the film, and there was no shortage of people volunteering to be a part of the film. You know, it was people were ready to open up. You know, I would like test the audio on the camera, and 40 minutes later they'd stop talking. And I'm like, oh God, right. You know, one question they would just, you know, they were desperate to offload, I suppose. And so that part was actually easier than the filming of the more personal stuff with my own family, where I would just avoid it because, you know, I knew I had to do it, and I was like, well, I'll go on holiday instead, or I'll go and film something else, you know, anything but doing the thing I was meant to be doing. So yeah.
So basically, you didn't want to come out of your shell.
Yeah, I guess you see that sort of resistance. I mean, another one of the reasons it took 7 years is because I was avoiding the actual difficult bits of the film. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's what people do when they, you know, they avoid difficult conversations and they avoid things, you know. And so I was avoiding the film, and it's baked into the structure. So, you know, hopefully that provides some humor, but also it kind of ties into the messaging and the themes of the film. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think we're all been there, trying to avoid some stuff. What difficulties or challenges did you experience when dealing with personal and vulnerable topics? Like you said, with your family, it was hard to open up. But did you suffer with your mental health or relationship during the process?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's got a lot better since making the film, but it was certainly like, there was points where I wondered if making a film in order to improve my mental health was actually making my mental health worse. Do you know? And I was like, maybe this was a silly idea, but overall, by the time I finished it, and now certainly releasing it, it's been a really positive thing. But I'm not sure if I'd recommend like everyone going off and making a feature documentary about about this sort of thing in order to improve there's probably simpler ways, like maybe just go to get some therapy, or, you know, join a support group, or talk to someone. You know, it's like, I don't know if it's the most conventional way to sort your problems, but yeah, it did work eventually. Yeah. So
I mean, is filmmaking a way to escape those vulnerable and really bad times?
yeah, I mean, for me, filmmaking's always been a sort of like the process of actually going and filming like makes me feel better, you know, because
Yes.
like, especially say you were filming, you focus on something really small, like focus on the microphone. It's like everything else in the world kind of disappears when you just focus on something small. Like
Yeah,
I
of
guess
course.
people do that in meditation or whatever. So it's like filming sometimes is like a bit of a meditative thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it helps me, you know. It's
Yeah.
but like other people might paint or, you know,
Oh, yeah.
sing or draw or what, you know, whatever.
But for you, it's filmmaking.
For me it's film. Yeah, yeah.
That's really nice. But as a film director, what approach did you take to make this film about the serious topic? You said it was kind of humorous, some a little lighthearted, but how did you balance it?
Yeah, with difficulty. I mean, I incorporate a lot of the mistakes that I made during filming into it, so I kind of make fun of myself, I suppose, and if things don't work in the film, like I kind of, and that helps me sort of not take things too seriously, and people kind of can have a laugh at seeing me struggle or when things don't work. But then also there's the serious stuff in the film where you have to kind of just leave space for that and let that sit. But I was really keen to make a film that wasn't like this sort of grim, depressing mental health
Yeah,
film.
of course.
I was like, I would want to watch something that had humour, and when you finish watching the film, hopefully you feel actually a bit lighter and a bit like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, it puts a smile on your face.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it's not like there's enough depressing films about mental health that I sort of didn't want to make one of those, you know.
Yeah. What was really interesting to me, like you said, it's a serious topic, talks about mental health. Are you the person who tries to cope with humor?
Yeah, I think that's always been a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I think even from, you know, getting bullied at high school, you know, it's like the coping mechanism would be to try and make people laugh, you know, to make friends, you know. It's like it's always been there in my life, sort of making fun of myself to try and navigate life, I suppose. Yeah, it's sort of, I think that's a common thing that people do, and so now it's just like it's just what I do. Yeah.
Same for me, actually. The other question that I wanted to ask is a bit personal as well. Did making the film also influence your own views on masculinity and emotional openness as a man yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I kind of like the statistics in the UK were so bad around men in comparison, I suppose, to women. Like that,
Big difference?
quite a big difference. Yeah, like you know, if you go down the more serious statistics around, say, like suicide and things like that, it's just so much worse. The numbers are so much worse in men than women. So I thought, well, I'm going to focus on men because that's like I'm a man and I'm going to do that, you know. And there's women in the film talking about the impact that has on women as well. But I don't know if it's like changed my perception on masculinity or anything. I think it's just, I mean, I've learned more, but I don't know if it's changed my views, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's been a sort of, I mean, I'm educated in lots of things now, but yeah, I don't know. It's, I think what's interesting is now showing it internationally.
Yeah, in different cultures, right?
Yeah, is like what's interesting is whether people relate to the issue in the same way in different places. So that's one of the things I'm really interested in here is like, okay, in Estonia, is it the same in Estonia or is it like different? You know, is the gender balance different? You know, so that's been quite interesting, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what people think. Yeah.
I hope that the audience, who are men as well, will learn a lot from it as well. Why do you think that many men find it difficult to express their feelings, especially compared to women?
I think there's like a worry about, it's almost a worry about worrying other people, you know, like some people in the film talked about, like they kept things to themselves because they didn't want to burden other people or they were worried it might make them also look weak or, you know, they didn't want to cry in front of their family because they want to appear strong and like everything's okay and everything's stable. So other people may be worried about information being used against them, someone said, you know, like there's quite a lot of different reasons, but then there's also a societal thing of like, okay, like when you're a man you should be this way. You know, like in films and TV, books. You know, like men are portrayed a certain way, and you're kind of conditioned from birth to sort of be a certain way. I mean, it's changing. You know, like things are changing gradually, but traditionally, it's still very. Certainly in the UK, it's still a big thing. There was a study done on babies where they put like a blue blanket over a baby, and that baby was like touched significantly less than if they put like a pink blanket on a baby. Yeah, so it's kind of like from the get-go, from birth, you're immediately being conditioned to sort of be like, you know, and then there's intimacy and affection is not.
I'm a stone cold man. I'm independent, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad sometimes when you think about it. So yeah, I would say, you know, maybe green is the color to put on babies. You know, and it's like
Green or yellow, gender neutral. Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's kind of sad how men feel alone compared to women. How do you hope the viewers, especially men, will be inspired and learn from the film?
I think like what you're saying, hopefully people will take from this film that they maybe are less isolated in their problems. Like a lot of other people are going through the same thing, actually, men and women, to be honest. It's like, it's just seeing someone else's journey and hearing about other people's experiences, you can feel kind of like more connected to that, and hopefully then inspires people to, you know, if they do want to change things in their life, they could make some small tweaks, or like maybe they could find some help in different ways, you know. And it's quite a, you know, it's a gentle message. It's not like I'm telling anyone what to do. It's different for every person. It's just the film just shows a kind of, I suppose it's just my story and a few other people's, and through that, yeah, audiences will do whatever they want to do. I mean, one person came out of screening, came up to me and said he'd never told his dad that he loved him before, and he went and phoned him like straight away. And I've watched him do it anyway. He phoned his dad and told him he loved him. He came back in with a big smile on his face, and I was like, so it's definitely impacting some people to make a positive step. Yeah.
Yeah, those moments, like you shared, the man who called his dad to tell him that he loves him. It's probably the you as a filmmaker. It's probably the source of inspiration and the source of like strength to do more films about it, right?
Yeah, I think it's that moment where you sort of go, oh, the film was worth making, not just for me, it's for other people. Because you spend a lot of time on your own working on it, and it's quite a solitary journey. I mean, you maybe have an editor and people helping you, but documentaries quite often are very low budget. You spend a lot of time working on your own. So to then get to the end of that 7-year journey and then see it actually impacting people in a positive way is sort of, you go, oh wow, it's like, it's not a film for me anymore. It's actually for other people to do what they want with, and it's quite a nice, quite a surreal but nice feeling. Yeah. And yeah, definitely makes you go like, oh, it was worth it.
Yeah.
For those moments when you're standing in the rain with a tripod and someone's not turned up for an interview, and you're like, oh God, you know, you're getting another meal deal from a supermarket to kind of keep it. It's like, it makes those moments disappear, and then, you know, you remind yourself that it is worth making another film, and, you know, not giving up on what's.
And that's why you're here. You probably had those experiences yourself before as well, not only with this documentary, but other ones as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've made a lot of short films over the years, and a lot of them have played here. Although I've never been here before, but it's
never been in Tallinn.
No, but it's nice to finally be here, because I've wanted to come previous years and not been able to. So, I mean, this is all part of the nice experience of releasing a film as well. You know, I get to go and use the swimming pool in the hotel and stuff. Yeah, so that's good.
The luxuries, yeah. Do men feel pressured by society to conform the image of the ideal man? And how can this pressure be relieved? Is this documentary enough for it? Or should we make bigger steps in society for it?
I think there is things changing in society, like things are gradually shifting, and I think it's a generational shift. So a lot of people now are bringing their kids up differently and to encourage more affection. But I think there's still like huge amounts of work to be done. Like if we go back to the kind of darker statistics around mental health, like things haven't really got any better in the last 7 years. They've actually got worse. So I think this film's maybe part of like, you know, a bigger thing that's going on that is hopefully looking to address. There's more organisations now. There's more people doing work in this area, but I don't think this film's going to like, you know, change the world or anything. It's just part of increasing the conversation and the awareness, and it's just sort of not giving up on it. You know, if anything positive can come, it's a good thing. Even if it just helps like one person, it's like that knock-on impact is big. Yeah. So.
You did your part on it, and you feel good, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's all quite surreal with all the screenings, and the UK release is next week, so there's going to be like screenings all over the UK next week. Yeah, it's a lot to process, but it's nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Well, during the process, if you have to think back while you were making this film, do you have something that you would make something differently, like any regrets, or would you like want to add something?
I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, I mean, it was like a learning. It's like my first ever feature-length documentary. So, yeah, there's so many things I would do differently. I think it was quite like a rough and ready. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was going to include. I filmed a lot of people and didn't include a lot of people in the film. You know, I think having a little bit more of a plan when I started the film might have been better.
Okay.
But I don't know if specifically there's anything I would say, okay, I would definitely do this or I'd do that. Or the list is probably too long of like...
Too long. We're going to be here for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, and also there's things that then audiences say like, oh, I wish this had been in the film. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should have done that. But there's only so much you can put in a film as well.
Yeah.
And you could almost do like a 10-part TV series on this issue and go deep on lots of different aspects. So I had to be quite specific about what I chose, and then it obviously became quite a personal journey rather than maybe looking into the wider issues. So that impacts a lot of choices in the film that, you know, maybe I would look at differently if I was starting all over again. But yeah.
I would love to chit-chat with you because it's a very interesting topic. It should be more talked about, but the time is running out. I will end the interview with a little light-hearted question. So you said you're here the first time. How do you like Estonia so far?
It's good, yeah. Yeah, it's good. I've walked about. I've enjoyed the photography museum.
Photography museum.
Yeah, the Fotografiska, is it called?
Oh, yes.
Because I've been to the one in Stockholm, so I wanted to go to this one. No, it's great. I mean, everyone's been very nice. We went to that party on the tram last night, which was interesting.
Yes. Something different. I was there as well.
Yeah, it's not quite. Yeah, it was a strange one. I'm not going to forget that in a while. But yeah, it's been good fun. Yeah, I'm sad to only be here for a couple of days. You know, it's like I could spend longer, and it seems like a very nice place though. Nice bars. Nice everything, yeah, it's good.
Maybe we'll see you next year.
Yeah, maybe I'll make another. Yeah, maybe I probably won't get another feature film made in a year, but maybe a wee short or something. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Duncan. It was such a pleasure to talk to you and meet you, and I wish you all the best.